When most people talk about the AI race, the same companies always come to mind. The American companies. We have OpenAI, Meta, Google, and Anthropic. That makes sense because these companies dominate headlines, they dominate public conversations, and they dominate demos every single day. But that's the problem. While the West struggles with regulations, safety of using AI, and the number one concern for every user in the West, the existential crisis of losing your job to AI. There is another AI system that is growing rapidly every single day, scaling at an enormous rate. That is the Chinese AI system. And the most interesting part for the Chinese, it isn't big about being the most popular or winning your vote or winning your love. It's about being the most adopted by the companies, by the users who truly matter. That's what we're going to be talking about today. The who is truly winning the AI race. So let's dive straight in. So firstly, the main question you need to ask yourself is, what does winning the AI race truly mean? Before we dive into companies, before we dive into technology, before we dive into anything, we need to see the criteria that different people or different sets of people have on the AI race. On one side, we have people who believe that winning the AI race is about having the most viral chatbot, or having the biggest parameter count, or having the most powerful AI model. Why some people also think that winning the AI race is how efficiently is your AI system being used for people in their daily work, how many companies embed your AI system into their workflow, or how cheaply and efficiently can your AI model be scaled. Because depending on your definition and depending on where you live in the world, the leaderboard is very, very different. Because in the West, having the best AI model is simply reliant on the amount of press coverage, the benchmarks of your AI model, or how many people know your AI model for having cool, weird features that they may not use for work, but they enjoy using. Why in China is how many people employ your AI model for daily work and actually use it for productive activities. That's why the scaling is really different. That's what we need to dive in, because AI isn't just a central or regionalized technology, is an international technology, so it must be graded on international standards. So let's dive straight in. So most of us already know about the American or the Western AI models. Now we're going to dive straight into the Chinese AI systems, the rebels, the outsiders, the new boys on the block. The first one, we have Qwen by Alibaba. Qwen AI model is the backbone of Chinese AI infrastructure. If you go to most companies, most businesses, and you ask them, what AI system do you use for day-to-day work? Not even 1 out of 10. 8 out of 10 companies or people tell you, I use Qwen AI model. This is because Qwen is highly integrated into Alibaba Cloud, a huge compiled software, also compiled information system or infrastructure that they have in China. This is why it is really adapted and used by everyone. It's easily available and its speed and efficiency is really, really good. It's used by logistics firms, retailers, and financial institutions, and even government agencies, so you know it's good. Qwen models aren't built to impress Twitter nerds or for your TikTok trends, such as Sora. If you know Sora, you know Sora. They are built to run businesses. They're built to be serious, powerful tools for businesses. Secondly, we have DeepSeek. DeepSeek is probably one of the most popular AI systems that China has. DeepSeek became absolutely unavoidable in 2025 when it was found out that it was faster than ChatGPT. People went mad. There were lots of outcries by people in the West that saying China is getting ahead. They were scared. This was because DeepSeek wasn't about being flashy. It wasn't about being the most exciting. But because it was really powerful and had good coding performance that developers were surprised by. They needed it. They enjoyed using it. And it did this under lots of constraints. It used very little computing power. Especially, and this mattered because China was already suffering a GPU ban by the US, because the US banned China from buying GPUs from Nvidia. They had to resort in buying GPUs from Thailand and other Asian countries through bootleg means. So obviously having an AI system that didn't use a lot of computing power was very, very key and important. Thirdly, we have Moonshot by We have Moonshot AI by Kimi. Kimi focuses solely on large context-based work. This is work such as legal analysis for lawyers, research papers, and so on for scientists and researchers, and automating workflows. So it's a powerful software. It is used widely across China too. It's also gaining popularity for professionals. And that's one thing, if you look at the Chinese AI models, I keep saying it, they aren't built to be flashy. They aren't built to be exciting per se. They are built to get a job done and get you that job done well. That's the main difference. Also, another one we have from China is ByteDance's Daobao. And you might recognize ByteDance as a parent company of TikTok worldwide, not TikTok in general, because the US TikTok ban. If you understand if you know what that means, you know. But if you don't, go watch the video I did about the US buying TikTok. I'll leave a link on it there. This was because, let's go back talking about Daobao. Sorry, Daobao wasn't built as a novelty. Taobao was built to be a serious system. It wasn't built to be embedded into TikTok for your memes or what so on. It was built to be a serious software. It became revolutionary because it was embedded into the system that Chinese people used and loved. So it was easy for them to access. They use it. It's more like their own version of ChatGPT. How people use ChatGPT almost as Google. That's the way they use Taobao. Almost as the other softwares were more professional, serious software, that was more like the more relaxed, the more accessible one. And also in China, you have the different AI systems. You have Baidao's Ernie, you have Zhaopu AI, and so on. Sorry if I butchered the name. Together, these AI systems form the rebels, the outsiders of the global AI network. They are the ones that are challenging your big boys as ChatGPT and so on. So you really need to watch out for them. Wait. Let's think about this. If you're like me, you probably thought about this. And I really thought about this when making this video. If these models are so powerful, so good, so interesting, why are they so invisible in the West? Why don't we know about them? Why am I making this video in the first place? Because if everyone knew about it, I wouldn't probably make it. Let's dive into this. So firstly, the main problem is geopolitics. The relationship between China and the world is very, very complicated. AI is no longer just a neutral technology. It's treated like power, like oil. If you have a good AI system, your government runs well. Secondly, you have data governance. Data is really, really big. Data is always going to be a really big problem or issue, because if a government or a company has data, they are going to do so much with that data. They can train models, they can recommend stuff, they can recommend propaganda, they can recommend so on. That's why the US fears China so much, because they think if China has access to US user data, they can do whatever they want. They can influence people, turn against the government. And also, Chinese AI models, Chinese companies are required by law to keep Chinese AI models in China, or Chinese user data in China. They aren't really allowed to export it outside. So actually, the systems are designed to be kept in-house in China. And probably one of the biggest issues among all of them is the language and cultural barrier. These Chinese models in particular, are trained using largely Chinese context, such as local regulations, local Chinese norms and culture, different nuances, and even the Chinese language when training these models. So exporting it really isn't as easy as it seems. Obviously, some of the data used is also English, but it's more as a secondary means, so isn't the fundamental one. That's one of the challenges that people who use the Chinese models in the West face. Is not really used to Western context or Western ways of doing things. It's built strictly on Chinese way context. And finally, we have narrative framing. The way you frame your AI model is the way it is sold. Because the Chinese models are sold as marketed, are sold as more serious business tools, They're mostly used by companies in the West. Those for the companies you know about, they're mostly used by companies in the West as serious tools for getting work done. So it's not going to be as popular as the Western AI models were used for different things by everyday people. That's one of the big differences. So just like I just said, the main people who use the Chinese models in the West are the businesses, large corporations. So let's dive into why these companies actually use the Chinese AI models. The first reason, they are open source. Unlike the Western models, the Chinese models are built to be open source. That means lower cost, more customization, and far more control in for what the companies can do. And for these companies, having control and customization is really good because they can use it for whatsoever they want. They can tailor it for their systems, for their existing systems. Because I was reading an article by Pinterest about Pinterest. The Pinterest owner was talking about the main reason why they use a Chinese AI system is because it's customizable. They can adapt it to their systems. It's used in if you use Pinterest, your recommendation services, whatever you see on Pinterest is mostly being handled by a Chinese AI system. Is because it's efficient, it's cheaper for them to scale, and easy for customization. Secondly, why these companies actually enjoy the Chinese models are the cost efficiency. Chinese models are built to be efficient. They're not built to be flashy or have so much prestige. They're built to be used on low computational constraints. So they don't need much GPU power or CPU power. Just built to be cut through with the resources and getting work done. That's what these companies want. And they want to save money because obviously as a company, you want to make the most profit as you can. Third thing is task focus. These AI systems aren't built to be your AI best friend. They're not built to be your AI chatbot. They're not built to be your Google. They are built for specific tasks, right? Writing code, parsing documents, automating workflows, and handling logistics. There are tools, not personalities. That's what makes them stand up. And that's what companies are looking for. Tools for specific tasks. That's why you see a lot of companies are laying away staff because they have found AI systems that can do the job for that one person that, let's say, 5 people can do for cheaper, specifically more efficiently, and doesn't need rest. That's why they're going for these AI systems. After looking at how AI is developing in China, we need to also contrast this with how AI is in the West. AI in the West is wrapped in a lot of fear. Fear of job displacement, fear of the creative industry collapsing, the fear of the loss of human agency, and the fear of corporate surveillance. A lot of people nowadays rather give their work to AI models rather than doing it themselves. And this obviously makes a lot of these concerns very valid. But the result is hesitation. Regulations pile up. Approval takes time and slows down. First, deployment gets delayed. Meanwhile, companies are pressured into having to explain, justify, and pause instead of integrating. The way it is framed in the West, AI is made to seem as a threat to our identity. Culturally, in China, it's framed a different way. It's framed as part of infrastructure. And when this framing leads to something like this, development slows down quickly. The West builds powerful tools, then argues whether it is morally right to actually employ these tools. China builds less flashy tools and deploys it everywhere with ruthless efficiency, making it unavoidable. So let's reel this video back into the main idea. Who is actually winning the AI race? The West still wins in terms of research, chip design, and global recognition, but China is winning in adoption, cost efficiency, and real-world integration. And history shows us something very important. Technology isn't going to reshape the world if it is the most advanced. It reshapes the world when it is the most unavoidable. The real winner of the AI race isn't going to be the country with the smartest model. It's the country who has been able to integrate AI into every system in its society. That's how we get advancement in society. Thank you so much for watching this video. This has been a lovely video to make, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. I'll link some of our other videos at the end of the video. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye.